Yes, everyone, as always, it is Friday, and you know what that means? Premiership Preview Day. And of course, it's game week 13. Lucky 13 for some, unlucky 13 for others. And we are expecting quite a few panelists to come right in a little bit later, but I am starting slightly late, and I definitely don't want to delay this any further. But I tell you what, with all of the sideshows going on with the internationals and obviously the European competition, it's sort of a bit of a break, really, from the Premiership action in a way. But of course, when Premiership football comes back, everyone looks forward to it. And as much as I love European nights and international nights, I'm no different. But we are, of course, going to get started ASAP, and we do have one panelist in the background, and I will bring him on, and hopefully more and more people who have the link will be joining in. And of course, the Arsenal fan has a Chelsea fan for company, and we will be talking about the Chelsea-Arsenal game. But before that, let's cut for the formalities. Latimus, Prime, you come at a prime time. How are you, mate?
I am good. I'm good. It's been, today is Friday. The weekend's approaching. The weekend games are approaching, and the big game Sunday. How about you, bro? How have you been?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. Obviously, been enjoying whatever football's been on the telly. The internationals were terrific. And of course, the European games were very, very interesting. Loved seeing us, beat another aging European powerhouse. But you and I both know that in the Champions League, it's never about how you do in the league stage, but how you do once you get to the knockouts. Liverpool are a prime example of that, and we will definitely be talking about Liverpool much later. And of course, as the panelists come in, we will, of course, go to some of the comments right now. We are, of course, live, yet we are definitely silly questions. So hopefully we'll have some more people in the chat, and we'll make a stream of it. But of course, now it is time to get to the preview. And of course, I've also sent the link to a Brentford fan, so hopefully he should be able to hop on in time to discuss this. But we will start our preview with the Saturday noon kickoff, which is, of course, another battle of the bees for Brentford, and this time at the G-Tech. Will the Clarets get stung? Now, the thing about Burnley is they've been, obviously, many people's pick to go back down. They have shown a great deal of spirit and fight and being able to pick up some very, very good wins and put in some decent performances. And yet, once again, we see they just struggle a little bit for a lack of quality up front, in my opinion. I think Lyle Foster, the South African, was one of the nailed on starters, but he seems to have drifted away, and they're still struggling for goals, and that's really going to be their problem. And of course, Brentford have also really bucked the odds with Jordan Henderson, the England veteran, coming in and steadying the ship in midfield. And I think it's fair to say that a lot of the new signings have also come in and proven their worth. And Keith Andrews, of course, former Northern Ireland international, European Championship player in 2012, if memory serves me right. He's actually done a pretty good job stabilising the team, and he's made a lot of critics eat their words. This is one game that really should have a Brentford win written all over it, but I think, as a Brentford fan will probably testify, Brentford do have the tendency to sort of get a little bit casual and just not be able to hit the target when they need to. But Burnley, I really can't see them picking anything up. Latimus, what say you?
Sorry, the end part I think I cut out. My Wi-Fi cut out or something.
Okay, well, I was just saying that I can't really see
20 seconds. Sorry, yeah, the last 20 seconds. You can repeat that. Sorry.
Yeah, what I was saying really in a nutshell was that I can't really see Burnley getting much out of this game. It should be a Brentford win, but Brentford also have a tendency to be a little bit casual, and even they may also not be quite able to, land the killer punch as and when needed. So this should have a Brentford win written all over it. Do you see differently, or do you concur?
I agree. I think Brentford should still win this game. Burnley, they've got the best thing about Burnley, in my opinion, is their midfield. Josh Cullen, Leslie and is it Florentino Luis? Is that not the guy from Benfica? Is that not their midfield? Like I rate their midfield, but the rest of their team is not necessarily the best. Yeah, I see Brentford. There should be no reason why they don't win up. They don't win this game. They don't pick up the 3 points.
Yeah. Well, one good thing going for Brentford at this moment is that at this particular point, they do have some very good home form, the fifth best in the Premier League, tied with Aston Villa, having scored 2 more goals than them and 3 more goals than Fulham. And, they are, of course, behind Arsenal and Manchester City, among others. But Brentford have been beaten at home. I think they lost to Manchester City, and this should definitely have a Brentford win written all over it. But when they played Brighton last week, Steve was telling me that they just were a little bit goal shy more than anything else. But I think you agree that, Burnley will be struggling for goals, perhaps. And unless they start scoring a little bit more, that's going to be one of the biggest reasons why they could end up getting relegated. And as I speak, they are, of course, second from bottom, only ahead of the toothless, fangless, incapacitated Wolves. So I think you and I can agree on a Brentford win. What about a scoreline?
I think this will be a draw.
Brentford and Burnley?
Oh, we're still. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Oh, I already
because we
spoke on
agreed.
Brentford and Burnley.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, we
sorry,
agreed. But I just want a scoreline. A scoreline.
Oh, sorry, a win. Maybe Brady can get a goal. 2-1, 2-1 Brentford.
I think I'd probably concur with that, and I will get Steve's prediction when he, buzzes right in. Before that, though, we will go to the next game, which is, of course, City against Leeds United. Of course, City were absolutely, I wouldn't say poor against Newcastle, but they were very, very wasteful, missed a lot of chances, which came back to bite them in the backside. And Leeds also should have probably beaten Aston Villa, but ended up losing 2-1 themselves, not quite being able to, overpower the villains. And there is talk about Daniel Farke possibly losing his job, with the likes of Brendan Rodgers and others being picked to succeed him. As far as City are concerned, they definitely need a win to get themselves back on track. And this also, in theory, should have a City win written all over it. But Leeds are no pushovers. I just don't know if they're going to have the wherewithal to be able to do the job away from home. And like Burnley, they will rely on home comforts more often than not. But this should have a City win written all over it. What say you?
I think this is a big, big opportunity for City. They're 5. Is it 7 points away from Arsenal right now?
Let me check the table for you right now as we speak. 7 points. You're right. 1 point
7
behind
points.
Chelsea.
Yeah, 7 points away. And obviously they're playing, tomorrow on the Saturday. I think to put a bit of like pressure on Arsenal and make the game even more important for you guys, and I guess maybe even for us as well. If City going and beating Leeds will do just that, because then like City winning closes that gap to, was it 4 points? If if Arsenal don't win, then the gap will stay at 4 points, or maybe even or 5 if the end game ends up being a draw between us. So
Yeah.
I think it's very, very important for City to beat Leeds, and I see no reason why they can't. Leeds, I know they've got pace on the counter attack, but they're not a good side. I saw the way when you guys played Leeds. I think the first like maybe 20-ish minutes, Leeds were doing well, trying to hang in there, but Arsenal just like eventually just ripped them apart with the quality. And I see City just doing the same thing. And even midweek, I didn't watch City's Champions League game, but from the way I was hearing City fans react from the game, it seemed like Pep rotated quite a bit. So for this game, there should be like no reason why they can't blitz Leeds.
Quite a bit is a bit of an understatement. 10 changes. Marmoush was on his own up front, and sadly he couldn't do the fandango. And they ended up losing
Marmoush is
2-0.
He's fit now. Marmoush is fully fit now. He's back.
Yeah, he actually started, and of course it was Steve's former goalkeeper, Mark Flecken, who kept a clean sheet.
Yeah.
And I just,
That's good. Marmoush being back is good for Egypt's chances at AFCON. I like that. I like that he's back.
Yeah, I mean, Egypt already qualified for the World Cup anyway, so he will be important for their challenge. And, Steve, I'm glad you buzzed in. And we are, of course, talking about Newcastle and, City and Leeds right now as we speak. And clearly this can't be anything but a City win. But they are under a bit of pressure, though, having lost to Newcastle and also lost to Leverkusen. And once again, we see, Guardiola just starting to, lose it a little bit. I think, like Simeone at Atletico Madrid, I think he stayed there for one season too long. What say you?
Yeah, probably. Anyway, big up to you two lads. And I think City should do this one, He should win it, shouldn't they? I mean, Leeds are in a bad way. I think Farker's off, isn't he? He's going to Farker off, I think, by the looks of it. I think they're going to go down, Leeds, aren't they? They're in big trouble. So, unless they get a decent manager in. I mean, they ain't got bad teams, actually. Some of their players are pretty good. But, I don't know, Farker just don't seem to be doing it, does he? So, I think City, though, will, should beat them. I mean, you got Haaland, who's probably going to get a couple of goals or so, isn't he? Or you got, is it Mamouche you were just on about as well?
Yeah, he might be coming off the bench if Haaland needs a rest.
Yeah, so I'm sure they've got enough there to beat Leeds, I would say. The score, I would say, probably be a 3-1 City.
Okay, that's just what I was thinking as well, because City, they will probably end up conceding a goal due to some casualness or maybe Leeds attacking on the counter. Latimus, what's your score prediction?
5-0 City.
Ooh, you literally are going large. I think Steve and I, in contrast, are going a little bit more conservative, and Chelsea fans even more conservative, going for a 2-1 win. Now, of course, Steve, I'm really sorry that you just missed this, but we were talking, Latimus and I, about this game, and of course, and obviously we wanted to get your thoughts on it. This should surely have a Brentford win written all over it, because Burnley can't score for, love or money or toffee or peanuts or what have you. But I remember what you told me, that when you lot played against the Seagulls at the Amex, it wasn't, you could have had a Desmond, which would have made me happy, but you just couldn't quite get it, though.
Well, true, Manny. And really, we should have done, but it's a lot about what ifs again. It's the same when we played Sunderland. We should have got something there, and we didn't. A lot of other games as well. We could have got something out of, but, you don't score, that's it, isn't it? You don't take your chances, that's it, you won't get it. So, I think we should have the 3 points here, because we got you lot afterwards. So it's quite important to get 3 points at the G-Tech, because I don't think we get anything at the Emirates, to be honest. So the way you lot are going. So and then, although more confident against Spurs after that, in the Thomas Frank derby. So I don't think they're that great, are they, Tottenham? So but yeah, I think this should be a 3-pointer for us. I'm not going to underestimate Burnley. I still think they're capable of doing something. They've beaten us before when they came up, and they were below us. And I thought, well, I think they beat us 2-0. I think it was that last season or season before, something like that.
Season before, I think Company might have been the manager then, if memory serves me right.
Yeah. I thought it was Parker, but I don't know. I can't remember. But yeah, I know we lost to them. So You can't just say, "Oh, that's easy." It's a piece of pea. We can easily beat this lot. But I think we should. We've got to be confident about this. We've only lost one to the GZ, and that was the City. So, really, this has got to be a 3-pointer. And I'm going to go. I'm actually going to go 3-0. No,
I like
not
this.
the overconfidence, but I'm going to go 3-0.
Yeah, well, Chelsea fan here says it could be a 2-0 win. Latimus and I, when we were speaking, were going for a 2-1 win because, Burnley, I mean, they're struggling for goals, but somehow, when things get desperate, they find a way. Now, of course, we come to this interesting fixture over here, Sunderland against Bournemouth at the Stadium of Light. And clearly, Fulham pretty much put the light out when Sunderland came to the Cottage. And that was a bit of a shocker because many of us were actually predicting that Sunderland would continue their fine season with a win. But this is just another reminder that, the Premiership isn't going to be very, very easy. Any team that has a brilliant start will sort of stumble a little bit. And, it's like an umbrella. What goes up when the rain comes down or, whatever goes up will eventually come down in the end. I'm going balmy, I don't know. But... you've got Sunderland who are on this rise, and you have a Bournemouth team that had a wonderful rise last season and are also doing quite well, but had a bit of a stumble against a resurgent West Ham team for whom Callum Wilson netted twice, came back from 2-0 down to draw. And so this is going to be quite interesting because both teams stumbled a little bit last week. I just wonder if this one might have a draw written all over it. Could I go for a Desmond? I might just. We had a Desmond the last time Sunderland played at the Stadium of Light. I know only too well how that transpired. And there's not much to choose between both of these two teams. Both of them have very good young managers and teams that are, doing quite well. And Bournemouth are determined to continue their rise. Steve, how do you see this one going?
They're one of my favourite teams, Bournemouth, aren't they?
Favourite.
No, mate. But I mean, all jokes aside and bad feeling aside it's more to do with certain fans of theirs than against the team. So, but they're a great team, Bournemouth. I will admit that they're doing well. They've got a great manager as well, of course. But look at Sunderland, the way they're going as well. So you can't count them out. And they almost beat Arsenal, don't forget, Sunderland as well. So I might go with you this one, Manny. I'm going to go you're Mr. Manny Desmond van der Rij. And I'm going to go with that as well, Desmond, for this one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Chelsea fans gone for a draw, but his name is clearly not Desmond. He's gone for a 1-1. Latimus, maybe you can break the three-way tie. Will either team win, or will this be a draw?
No, I agree. They're both very good sides. Bournemouth are going to want to have a lot of control of possession and play on the ball, and Sunderland, playing on the counter with the pace they have and the quality they have. I think it just kind of cancels each other out. So maybe a scoring draw, like a 2-2, maybe 3-3.
Ooh,
but I'm definitely saying it'll be an entertaining game.
Yeah, so it will be interesting to see how the likes of Kluivert for Bournemouth and Isidore and others for Sunderland will operate, and obviously Granit Xhaka will enjoy sinking his teeth into the Cherries midfield. Could it be Alex Scott and Tyler Adams? It'll remain to be seen, but. So we got draws all the way through, and Latimus going for an even bigger score draw. Very, very interesting indeed. Yeah. Right. And now, of course, this... You were saying, Steve?
No, I said that would be interesting, a 3-3, a big game.
Yeah, I mean, that's not uncommon, but we'll find out a little bit more as it transpires. And Saturday's next game, of course, sees Everton against Newcastle. Everton benefiting from that magnificent heist at Old Trafford, despite going a man down. And Newcastle also benefiting from having beaten Manchester City. So the Manchester Conquerors going over to the Docklands. The only problem is, will the Magpies be in the dock having suffered a bit of a reverse against Marseille. My striker, Aubameyang, turning back the clock, proving that he's still got it. And certainly not a day that Nick Pope would want to remember. And Latimus, I'm going to start with you on this one, because obviously one of the biggest headlines as far as Newcastle is concerned is the form of Nick Pope. He started the season very well, but has made quite a few errors in Newcastle's last few away games. And obviously his decision to go walkabout, first of all, it was worse than what David Raya did, because, he knew what he was doing. He was running towards Aubameyang, despite the fact that there were at least one or two covering defenders. But then Aubameyang just waltzed past him, and it was a hopeful shot more than anything else, but it found its way into the net. And many people are now saying that maybe Pope, who even found had a recall to the England squad of late, might need to be dropped for another England reject in the form of Aaron Ramsdale. Do Newcastle stick and twist with Pope, or do they just drop him and give the 4-time relegated goalkeeper a chance?
No, you stick with Nick Pope. He's still their best goalkeeper. Yes, maybe he's on a little bit of, bad form, but I don't know. Like what Aubameyang did. Even though Aubameyang's a lot older now, he's still an amazing goal scorer with a wealth of experience. He will do that to most goalkeepers. So I don't really think that's a detriment to Nick Pope. I think they just stick with him. I don't think it's a thing where he should be dropped. Now, if it continues, then yeah, we can have that conversation can be had and he can be dropped. But as of right now, just to drop him for that, I don't think it's warranted. Especially for Ramsdale as well. I don't think Ramsdale is as good as a goalkeeper as what people think he is.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing going for him is his distribution. And of course, Newcastle have a certain informed winger in the form of Harvey Barnes, and there is talk about him possibly getting a late call up to the Scotland squad for the World Cup. He could be key against that Everton defence, maybe.
Harvey Barnes is Scottish.
No,
I think he's got. Well, he's got Scottish. He's got Scottish ancestry, and I think he did play for England in a friendly. But because it's a friendly, I mean, he is still eligible to play for Scotland.
He had a holiday night in Scotland. That's why he's eligible.
It could be the case. Could be the case. But Latimus, he will be key though, won't he? And I think his form is certainly one of Newcastle's bright lights this season as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Harvey Barnes is a. Oh no, you are right. He does have his mother, or his paternal grandparents. Yeah, so his mother's parents. But yeah, Harvey Barnes. He is a very good player. He did well at Leicester, and him getting this move to Newcastle, it's been a bit of the last couple of years he's been there. It's been a bit up and down in terms of being able to get consistent starts because of Anthony Gordon, but it seems now he's finally finding his feet and finding a run of form, and so I'm happy for him. I'm happy that he's actually doing well.
That's great. Now, Steve, I'm going to come to you talking about Everton right now, because obviously you and I were having a discussion about that ridiculous little exchange between Idrissa Gana Gueye and Michael Keane at Old Trafford, which saw the Senegalese midfielder get sent off. And obviously, you know my opinions about that. Obviously, it wasn't quite as bad as that disgusting display between Lee Bowen, Kieran Dyer for Newcastle back in the day. Both those idiots got sent off, and deservedly so. And there have been more teammate clashes on the field at the end of the day. I always say that there's a time and a place for everything. You take it off the field and you have a bit of a Barney there. You don't do it on the field and let your tensions run over. And yet you had a situation where David Moyes was saying that he loved seeing that. It meant that the players supposedly cared. Well, forgive me for being stereotypical. Maybe as a Scot, he would feel that way, because you obviously want to see that little bit of, you want to see a little bit of brawling every now and then. Maybe Scots find it kind of nice that way. But then with Gueye suspended, I mean, I just wonder if that might harm Everton's chances of getting something from the game, because potentially this could be a wonderful duel as well between Jack Grealish and Anthony Gordon to see who might end up getting the ascendancy for that left wing spot. But Gueye's absence will certainly be, a problem for Everton, right?
Well, yeah, definitely. And you, what you just said about that, Manny, about the punch up, wasn't there one with David Batty as well? Or so I seem to remember. And
I think between Batty and Graham Lasso, and that might have been in the
yeah,
pre-season game for Blackburn. You're right.
yeah, and I thought his mum Nora wouldn't be impressed with that, would she? But no, well, I mean, the wrinkled stockings on around her legs, but no, yeah. But no, I think I wonder if the Geordies could come unstuck here with the Toffees. You never know, because I don't know if this is going to have any play in here. He's going to have a game here. I don't know. I hope they boo him if he does, but I can't stand the guy. But I just think Everton on some sort of roll now. That was a big win, the 1-0 the other day against United. Sorry, Orris, to bring that one up, but wherever he is, Orris, but I'm sure he'll be on a bit later. But yeah, I think Everton are doing well, and Grealish, Chuck E. Cheese, or whatever you call him, he's doing pretty well. I mean, it'd be a shame if Harvey Barnes does play for Scotland. I think he'd be better for England. I would take him over Gordon, actually, all day long. I think he's better than Gordon. Gordon's not flash enough, as far as I'm concerned. So, I think Harvey Barnes would be the better bet. But it's Tommy Tickle, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what he's going to do you? At the end of the day.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go 2-1 Everton for this.
Ooh, interesting. For me, this obviously, has another draw written all over it. I might decide to go for a 1-1 draw. I think both teams will cancel each other out, but neither team will want to concede too many goals. Latimus, what's your score?
For this game, if I'm going to go 2-1 Everton. 2-1 Everton.
Okay, so both you and Steve are on the same page here. Another sad away day for the Magpies, so the Magpies will end up in the dock. And of course, Saturday's final game is a London derby. Of course, before we come to that, obviously, we will go to that right now. So obviously, Spurs have had a very interesting few days. Obviously, we ripped them a new one at the Emirates, although Richarlison managed to mug off our goalkeeper, David Raya, formerly Steve's goalkeeper, of course, the fourth Flecken. And now, finally, you've hit a winner in Caoimhin Kelleher. I'm sure Latimus will agree. And they ended up following that up, a rather defensive, turgid display, which sort of get ripped apart by Arsenal, but then they gave it a go at Paris Saint-Germain. But, of course, ever since they sold Gigi Donnarumma, PSG haven't been quite the same. They did lose to Bayern Munich at home in the Champions League, and they're facing an almighty battle, three-way at the top, for top spot in League 1. So that's not even a guarantee. And they're coming up against a Fulham team that will be quite buoyant after their win over Sunderland. Fulham don't necessarily have the best time away from home, and they have struggled this season as well under Marco Silva. There is a part of me, though, that thinks that they will enjoy playing at the Tottenham Stadium, because once again, we just don't know which Tottenham's going to turn up. We're not even sure what sort of tactics Frank will employ here. And Steve, I'm going to come to you now, because obviously, Thomas Frank was close to your heart, and you will probably understand his tactics better than everyone else. Why do you think Frank has struggled to replicate his Brentford success at Tottenham for the most part, despite a few good results here and there? Some of the performances have not really had Spurs fans impressed.
No, well, I think he's finding it harder now, Manny, to a bigger club. Well, so-called bigger club. I don't know about that with Spurs, but anyway, they win even less than we do, let's be honest. So, but yeah, I just think it is tougher for him now, and the pressure might be showing on him a bit more. I believe with that, and You know, he's got to win something. He's under a bit of pressure there at Tottenham to win something. You know, and I just think he's supposed to have the better players there. Let's be honest, but are they? How many great players have they got, Tottenham? That's what I want to know. Really, you know, he'd be better off staying with us, Manny. But there we go. It's happened. He's moved on. Can't keep going on about that. It's happened. But we got Keith Andrews, and I'm happier with him now. I don't think we'd take Thomas Frank back, to be honest. But yeah, I think he's tougher for him. And you see what happened the other day against, was it PSG as well? Yeah.
Yeah, PSG.
And they lost 5-3 as well. So, although they went for it more there, which was better than they did against Arsenal, because they were poor, weren't they, against you lot, to be honest, and you thrashed them, deservedly so. But, you know, I just think it's a whole different ball game for him now. Well, that's still football, but not. But you know, it's still tougher, and now they got Fulham, and I just wonder if Fulham could do something here, possibly win this one. You know, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be shocked, because somehow he's not doing a lot at Spurs with this lot, Frank. And yeah, I know they've got injuries as well, and they've got some big players out, Maddison and everything, Kulusevski and so forth. Kudus, I think he's still out, isn't he? Or is he back now? I don't know. But yeah, they got some big players out. Don't seem to play Johnson enough. I don't know why that is, but you know, they have got some good players. We all know that Van de Ven, if he can do another goal from his own area again, well, that'd be incredible, wouldn't it? I mean, I'd love a player like him at the Bees, but well, that's in fancy, well, getting somebody like that. But you know, it's no. I think Fulham could get a shock here, Manny. You know, I'm going to go. Who's that AFC? I'm going to go with that one. The 3-2 Fulham. Same as
wow.
that.
Yeah. Well, interestingly enough, I'm also thinking and hoping that with 3 ex-Arsenal players in that team, Bernd Leno, Alex Iwobi and Emile Smith-Rowe, they could actually bring about that shock, and that will really be an absolute sickener. But if anyone knows as much about Fulham as we do, maybe more, it's Latimer's Prime, because as a Chelsea fan, Fulham are, of course, the West London rivals. Of course, you know, Brentford is based in West London too, but, you know, Chelsea and Fulham have just had a little bit more of a history playing against each other in the Premiership. And as I mentioned, Latimer's, Fulham were struggling earlier on this season under Marco Silva, and maybe, you know, his job would have been under threat. They are still 15th in the table, but on 14 points, they're not too far away from Spurs, actually. And if they win, they'll be 1 point behind Spurs. I wonder if you think there's enough in that Fulham team to cause a shock at the Tottenham Stadium, or do you think finally Frank will get it together?
Fulham haven't won an away game all season, right?
Oh boy, we might have to check that out. But yeah, they've had 6 losses, and I think I'd have to agree with you. I think their away form hasn't been the best, but keep talking, lad.
Yeah, this is going to be a Fulham win. Fulham haven't won an away game all season. Tottenham are poor at home. It's a recipe, perfect recipe, you know. So yeah. Yeah, and also that PSG game midweek, it must have taken a lot out of Spurs, a lot out of them. So yeah, Fulham have enough in them to be able to beat Spurs. So yeah, first away win for them.
And with that scoreline that AFC always says, or somewhat different scoreline, maybe 2-1.
3-1 Fulham.
Ooh, Fulham to score 3. Well, I'm going to sort of wonder where the goals might come from. I'm going for a 2-1 win, and I think Steve will agree with that. Chelsea fans saying that it will be quite the opposite. He thinks that Tottenham might get the better of Fulham, 2-1. And it's going to be interesting because obviously if there is another home loss, then the pressure will continue to pile on Frank. Personally, I think he has to be given this whole season, but then they should review it and find out where they go. And obviously, Chelsea, Latimer, you'll remember that Pochettino, former Spurs manager, of course, was given a full season at Chelsea. had his share of good moments, but then you decided he just wasn't it, and you got rid of him, and you got Maresca, and the rest is history. Goes without saying, eh? Latimus?
Sorry?
No, I was just saying that obviously, I was saying that Frank should be given a full season at Tottenham, just like you gave Pochettino, the ex-Spurs manager, a full season at Chelsea. And then when you decided he wasn't it, you brought in Maresca, and the rest is history, right?
I mean, is Frank ready for the step up? No. However, is Spurs really the step up? They've not had a good squad in a very long time. This is why I never like blamed Ange. I never blamed Conte. I never blamed Jose. I didn't blame Nuno. Their squads just aren't really that good. When I look at the squads Spurs has, like for example, this season, people are saying Frank should be more expensive. One, Frank is not an attacking manager. Two,
nope.
With the squad they have, what do you want to do? Because Ange tried to be attacking, they couldn't do it. Their players can't have a cohesive press. They can't play tiki-taka. You can't sit in a low block and defend properly. You don't have players who really do have any sort of sustained style. So it's all well and good just blaming Frank for everything. But what more, your squad just isn't good. And with the summer you just had, you guys always have since Poch got sacked, you guys always had a good first window under a new manager. But then the next window ends up being poor, and it's just not good. You don't have good strikers, whether it's Richarlison, Solanke, or Kolo Muani. You bought Kudus from West Ham, but even Kudus can't do everything on his own. I rate Kulusevski. I think he's your best attacker in general.
Madison, he's their best attacker, not mine. I'm not too sure who you're talking to, but go on.
Yeah, Madison's, in my opinion, overrated. You overspent on Madison. Odegaard, I like, but he's very, very young. Bergval, again, I like, but he's young. Archie Gray, he should be getting more chances in your midfield because Paulinho I like, but he can't dictate a game. And Bentancur is just, his legs are finished. So you should play Archie Gray more if you want to take more control of games.
Absolutely.
And I look at your defense, Vicario, I think he's a good goalkeeper. Van de Ven, I think he's one of the best centre backs in this league, and he should not be at your club. Romero, he is a good centre back as well. But your fullbacks, Dogi won't stay fit. Jed Spence is good but overrated, and Pedro Porro wants to go and play as an attacking player when he's a fullback. That's your team. And it's all yes, blame Frank, fine, but what who else do you want that's going to fix you?
Exactly,
you had a serial winner in Jose. You had the league title winner in Conte. You had Ange, who wins everywhere he goes. Nothing still changed. And I know Levy's gone, but your ownership still isn't good either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to move on here. I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head. The more things change, the more they end up staying the same. There is still a part of me that thinks that maybe, to answer your question, with a better window, especially the one that they had this time around, Ange maybe could have gotten the players to play together. Maybe could have, just tweaked it a bit more to be a little bit more intelligent defensively. But I guess we'll just never know. Now, the reason why I have to cut you short is because obviously, we can talk about this for a long time, obviously, and I really love your insights here. But we do have to move on, obviously, to the next game, which is, of course, on a Sunday, and that's also a noon kickoff. Yeah. Crystal Palace smarting from their European loss at Strasbourg, which, of course, has a certain Ben Chilwell playing for them. Latimus, you'll remember him. And Manchester United also smarting from that dreadful reverse at home, and people starting to chirp about Amorim again. And, of course, we've received some news confirmed by AFC 87 always, of course, Craig, that Matheus Cunha will miss the game against Palace on Sunday, and that's going to be a very, 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 very big loss because, United obviously, were having a bit of an upturn of form, but now they started to regress into some bad habits. And I think it's fair to say that their midfield against 10-man Everton was absolutely shambolic.
Yeah.
Heaven knows what they're going to do against a Crystal Palace team that will be eager to get back on track following that European loss. Latimus, let me start with you. How do you think this one's going to go? And do you see the crisis starting again at Manchester United?
It's going to be another loss. Amorim has won 12 Premier League games in 12 months. So when I kept telling Ores about how bad it is at United, and it was only, 2 months ago they hadn't won back-to-back games under Amorim.
Yeah.
So when I keep telling people how bad this is, people don't want to listen. Amorim plays a back three, or a back five, I should say, and yet every game he substitutes a center back for a center back. You don't have cohesive wing backs because Dorgu's just not good, and Ahmad's not a wing back. And for the people that back Amorim, you shouldn't be happy with the window you had in the summer, because the players you brought in individually fine, they're good players, but you didn't bring in anyone to actually improve Amorim's system. Instead of spending money on Cunyan and Buemo, who are good players, what you should have done if you're backing your manager is bring in a quality central midfielder and a quality right wing back. You didn't do that. No. And this little purple patch United were on, 5 unbeaten. Ahmad's gone to AFCON in a month, as will Mbuemo, as will Mazwari. Your best players are going to be gone. So what happens then? It's just shambles. The fact that people still defend this, it's shambles. Big
Absolutely.
Man United, big club, the biggest club in the world, the Man United. You guys still defend this because we're not a sacking club like Chelsea. We give our managers time, yada yada yada. All of that is all well and good, but even if we look through United's history, all the league titles you've won, they've all been won by 3 managers. So yes, fine, people can talk about the longevity, but within that though, you guys have sacked managers until you found the right guy. So why does Amorim have to be the right guy? Sack him and get someone else. And if he's not the right guy, sack him and get someone else. Like, it's defending this is just weird. And also, Palace are a brilliant side as well. Brilliant side. Well drilled by Glasner. They've got good players. I don't see Man United being able to break them down, nor do I see them being able to just hold out Palace. It could be I'm gonna go 2-0 Palace.
Yeah, well, Chelsea fan here going 2-1, and I'm sure, Steve, you'll definitely agree with me that Crystal Palace will win. But, having said that, Palace also, for all of their ability, are not quite as high in the table as you'd like them to be. And, of course, it does seem... I mean, to be fair, they are 5th in the table right now, 1 point behind Aston Villa. But, you also would like to see them challenging a little bit more, although they are very well placed. They are starting to sort of feel the struggles a little bit. I do think, though, that they're managing it quite well because obviously Glasner does have some experience of, winning a European competition. Before Ange won the Europa, he, of course, won it with Eintracht Frankfurt. And, I'd be more than delighted to have him come over to Arsenal and, have a much more, we'd have a much more, meticulous and a more well-drilled manager than what we got right now. And even now you still have some people ridiculously defending him. But back to Palace, as Latimus has said, they are a good side. Interestingly enough, they're also a team that plays 3 at the back, has a similar 3-4-2-1 formation. But they seem to get a lot more out of that formation. And obviously, even after losing the likes of Elise and Eze, who squared up against each other on Wednesday in the Champions League, they still have this knack of being able to get a really cohesive team going and delivering some pretty good performances. It will remain to be seen whether or not they can maintain their European push. But against Manchester United, I mean, obviously, Palace's record against United, especially at Selhurst Park, has been brilliant. I can't see beyond the Crystal Palace win. Latimer's can't see it. Chelsea fan predicts Crystal Palace win. Do you go along that line as well, Steve?
Pretty much, Manny. And I'll go with what AFC always is saying there as well about the way end, looking through a letterbox. Yeah, I know that. I've been there. Selhurst Park enough times. Been that way end. Yeah, it is, exactly. He's spot on with that. But yeah, going back to this game, and I really think the Eagles going to swoop down and get their prey, which is Man United. Easy enough, and because I just think United are shambles. I mean, they were going well for a while, and they sort of got it together, hammering. But he just won't change it, will he? He won't change his style, his formation, or whatever else, his tactics. He just won't change it. He's just too stubborn, really. And that's how they're going to be found out again. And you know, obviously, Bramo is a baller. He's balling there at United. But they got a few good other players as well. But you know, I just don't think he's going to do it under this manager. And Palace, well, with a great manager they've got. So if only United had him, Glasner, I think they might do better. But I'm going to go with a 2-1 Palace though as well.
Yeah, I'll probably just throw caution to the wind and go for a 3-1 Palace win here, because I think, you know, United are just falling back into bad habits all over again. If they can beat a 10-man Everton, they've got little to no chance against Palace. And I shouldn't really be asking this question here because, of course, we've got, you know, a West Midlands / Birmingham derby between Aston Villa and Wolverhampton, high-flying villains against the incapacitated Wolves who are rooted to the bottom. This should be an easy Aston Villa win. But, Steve, as I told you, and as you agree with me, Villa seldom, if ever, do things the easy way. Yeah. And it certainly proved last night as well when they played in Europe. They had the game supposedly sewn up. Daniel Marlin with a brilliant brace, should have scored more. And yet somehow near the end, they allowed the young boys to get a goal back. They were also lucky not to have, they were lucky to have another young boys goal disallowed for a tight offside call. Yeah. A win's a win and all that jazz. And Villa are playing against the bottom of the table Wolverhampton team. But Wolves do have a bit of a knack of raising their game against the villains. This time, though, they're travelling to Villa Park. Villa are flying high after being so low. You beat them early on, and then you helped give them a kick up the backside, and now they're fourth in the league. I'm going to predict a 3-1 Aston Villa win. Again, no clean sheet for my favourite keeper, but Aston Villa can't lose this. Or can they?
I wouldn't have thought so. I just can't see it, really. I mean, you know, Wolves are just keep carrying on struggling, aren't they? I mean, I don't know. They've got a new manager, haven't they, Wolves?
Yeah, Rob Edwards. I think they poached him. Yeah, they poached him from Middlesbrough, and Middlesbrough now have a new replacement, I believe. Someone has joined in. I'll have to look that up and confirm that. I don't remember his name. But Edwards obviously going to Villa. Yeah. And as I said, Steve,
look, Man's Luton, didn't he? Look how it ended up with him, didn't it?
Yeah.
In the Premier. So, you know, they started well and looked great at times, Luton, didn't they? And involved in some great games, especially against Arsenal, of course. Remember that one. But, you know, they still went down. So I'm not sure Edwards is the man to keep these lot up somehow. And he'll probably get sacked again as well. I can't see him staying up. They've got no chance. Well, 2 points and a long way off doing anything, are they? Like, they haven't even won. Have they won a game? No, they haven't. It's 2 points. Right? They haven't won a game. And, you know, to start getting a win against Villa, no. That ain't going to happen, is it? So, it's shocking what happened, by the way, that with Marlon. He got hit, didn't he?
Yes, he did. That's right.
Well, that was shocking and stuff. But he's a great player. I rate him. And, you know, I mean, Villa have got a great team, haven't they? With a great goalie, Manny, as we all know. In goal there, Martinez. So you're number one. And I'm going to go with that. AFC always. I'm going to go with 4-1 as well.
Yeah, quite frankly, Villa can actually start Marco Bizzo, their reserve keeper, and they should still get a win. But Latimer's just briefly, one of the things about, I think we can all agree that Wolves are pretty much cut adrift, and I don't think Edwards will save them. One of the things we talk about with Aston Villa is just how brilliantly they've recovered. And, you just think that if they had gotten better results in the first few weeks, they probably would be challenging for the title. They're never going to challenge for the title as long as they've got the squad they have, because they are very light defensively. They don't really have a decent right back to cover for Matthew Cash. They signed the ex-United defender Lindelof, who clearly doesn't look the part at right back or even at centre back. He's not going to get a game there with Consa and Pau Torres ahead of him. And Ollie Watkins is still struggling for goals and confidence. Yeah. So it's I think Villa should be able to somehow snag a Champions League spot, and I think they could keep this run going. But obviously they're going to have to play you later on, and they've got to play us as well. They're not going to be easy games. I think their squad lightness will probably be what costs them again in the end. But, I mean, obviously, you're predicting a Villa win, but what do you think of Aston Villa and how they've recovered, and what do you think their prospects could be? Latimer?
Sorry. Sorry. I was doing something. I just got back. Villa, it's funny, isn't it? Because at the start of the season, people were talking about Villa and how they weren't looking good, and should Emery be sacked? And right now they're fourth. So it's funny how quickly the league table can change, and how people shouldn't be like overreactionary because of a few games in. Villa, personally, I think they'll beat Wolves. Their Wolves just aren't really a good side, and Villa, they'll have enough firepower to be able to make it through. I don't know if you know about this on this situation. What's going on with Harvey Elliott at Villa?
Yeah, the issue is that, obviously he was signed by the former, sporting director Monchi, who has since resigned his post. Emery didn't really want him, and Emery doesn't really like to play him in the position where Harvey Elliott is more comfortable playing. So there's also a clause where if Harvey Elliott makes a minimum of 10 appearances, Villa have to sign him. And clearly, Elliott just hasn't really been able to hit the marks in training. Emi Buendia has now come back into the side and shown some brilliant form and promise. So it could very well be. I mean, we're going to talk about Liverpool, obviously, because the way Liverpool are going, I think they might, be happy to cancel the loan deal and get Harvey Elliott back, because it can't be any worse than, what's going on right now. I think, it's just a case of, good player who's joined the wrong club at the wrong time. I would have hoped it would have worked, but clearly Emery had some different ideas. And I just don't think we're going to see much of him. Obviously, Jadon Sancho, who spent some time with you at Chelsea and won the Conference League with you lot, is now at Villa. And he is also showing a bit of inconsistencies. So Villa might need to do some business in January. I would like to see them do that business and maybe cut a few of their losses and maybe try and work their way around PSR. But they should make the Champions League. They are some favourites in some ways to win the Europa League. I'd like to see them, continue doing well under Emery.
Scoreline 2-0.
Okay, so 2-0 says you, 4-1 says Steve, 4-1 says AFC 87 always, and I think Chelsea fans gone for a 3-0. I've gone for a 3-1, and now we will move on. And of course, we will come to Liverpool later on, but of course, this is an interesting one because, I will talk to you about this as well, Steve, but I'll go with Latimer's first. The corresponding fixture last season saw Nottingham Forest smack the Seagulls for 7 under Nuno, a very defensive manager, and yet he was able to nullify Brighton's play and, somehow see them score 7. That was when Forest were having that brilliant run and everyone was talking about them making the Champions League. Now, Nuno's gone. Ange came and went. Dyche, the ex-Forest player, has come back in and got them playing really well. They've won 2 games in the Europa League against Porto and Malmö, respectively, and they've also started winning a few games, and they are resurgent now. And they're going to come up against a Brighton team, hoping to try to repeat that scoreline. I think it's fair to say that, Dyche is definitely the right manager for Forest right now. But it just makes you wonder, why the hell did that corpulent Greek idiot not see it fit to hire Dyche when he had the chance?
Exactly. Yeah.
Animus, how impressed have you been with Forest's recovery? And what's your score prediction for this one? It won't be a 7-0, I'm sure.
I think this will end up being a draw.
Ooh.
I think this will end up being a Forest look good under Sundays. Just goes to show if when you have certain players, just get a manager that can play to their strengths. And with Brighton, the way they play, they'll leave space in behind that will suit Dyche, which will allow Forest to counter in behind. So I think 1-1. A 1-1 draw.
Ooh, a very tight game indeed. Steve, obviously you've been also very impressed with the work that Dyche has done, but you also know that Brighton are not going to be the same pushover team that got hit for 7. And of course, a certain Daniel Welbeck is still, rolling back the years, enjoying the form of his life. And there is talk about he should be back in the England squad. And I definitely would have him in the England squad. Certainly him over a certain ex-Brentford striker whose name I will not mention. My apologies. But surely you can't see a repeat of that 7-0 either, can you?
No, not really. I just, I know a team I really love, Brighton. No. Like Brighton Rock, I'd say it's got relegation written all the way through it. But no, it hasn't. But no. But unfortunately, I hate Brighton because we should have got something against them, let's be honest. Sounds like sour grapes, but there we go. That happened. We still lost. So, but yeah, I still think Nottingham Forest looking great. Dyche, they got the old Dyche ball, and old Dyche, he's playing well there with him, and he old Sean Dyche, so doing very well. So I think they're going to stay up, definitely Forest this season, and going to do pretty well in Europe as well because he's going to get them through there. So he's carrying on the good work from old Ange, isn't it? He got them a couple of wins. Was it a couple of wins in Europe or something?
Yeah, exactly. As I said, against Porto and Malmo, I said that.
Yeah, so, he was doing okay there at least in Europe, Big Ange. But yeah, I just think here I can see the merry men arrowing in on the Seagulls and getting a pretty good win here, I hope. And I'm going to go 3-1 Forest.
Yeah, well, Chelsea fan here predicts it'll be 2-1 for Nottingham Forest. I'm also going to go back to my, usual Desmond settings and go for a 2-2. I think Brighton are going to be determined not to have a repeat of that 7-0 reverse. And, there will be times when Dyche ball will come unstuck. And surely, Steve, you must hate Forest for stealing Callum Wendo from you, right?
Yeah, well, yes, and he scored, didn't he? Yeah, so the other day. Yeah, rubbed it in even more, didn't it? But there we go.
Right.
We're still above them, so who cares?
Absolutely. That's the spirit. Now, of course, we will briefly talk about this game. Liverpool's bubble is well and truly burst. The only question is, will Nuno Santo deliver the hammer blow to Slot's employment? Obviously, we're going to talk further in depth about Liverpool's demise, but Nuno, of course, who used to manage Forest, he was their manager at the beginning of the season. Now he's come over to West Ham and also seen them become a little bit more solid. And it's quite fair to say that obviously Jared Bowen, great super smashing once again, you could say. And Callum Wilson also somehow in the goals once again. And the team's starting to look a little bit more solid, even though they do have a few goalkeeper issues of their own. But I think West Ham are now going to have to accept that the days of the stylish football of years gone by are now gone. And their better results in recent years have come with managers who are a little bit more defensive and stodgy-like. And, of course, under a certain David Moyes, they won one of their European titles. the Conference League with a certain Declan Rice being their captain. Oh, those were the days, my friends. They thought they never end. But now, of course, they're coming up against a Liverpool team in free fall. They've been conceding goals left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
Do you think that West Ham's bubble will be blowing, and can they, get something against these fallen giants, Steve?
Well, the Hammers are going pretty well at the moment, aren't they? I mean, they're on resurgence here, and we obviously annihilated them 2-0. It should have been more, as we know. It
Yep.
could have been 7 at least if we'd actually finish. Could have been 7, but there we go. But yeah, I don't know what's happened with Liverpool. I really don't. I mean, that slot machine's just broken down, isn't it? It's just totally gone. Smashed on the scrap heap, I think, by the looks of it. And I don't know how much longer he's got there, to be honest. I think he's a dead man walking, to be honest, Barney Slot. And, I'd be surprised if he lasts. If they lose this against West Ham, and who have they got in the next one, Manny?
I'll check that out. I'll check that out in a minute. Obviously, I mean, they're just above you, mind you. You could end up going above them, and their next game will be against Sunderland at the beginning of December at home, and even that's not going to be a guaranteed win either.
No, it's not. It's not, because Sunderland are a good team. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does lose these next 2. He's got to go, and surely. How much longer do you give the guy? Because it's not good enough for them, is it? Is it 9 defeats? Yeah.
Well, they've lost quite a few in Europe. They've lost quite a few in Europe, and in the Premiership, they're now on 6 losses. So it's not looking good for them at all. And it's like 606 in the Premiership right now: 6 wins, no draws, and 6 losses. And it's really not looking at all good. So, what's your score prediction, Steve? Then
I think I'm gonna go a win for the Hammers. I just can't see Liverpool turning this around. I mean, I don't think West Ham are particularly brilliant either. I don't know that great super smashing, although they've got Jim Bowen. He's doing very well. I think it's going to be, I'm going to go 2-1 West Ham.
Yeah, well, Chelsea fan here has gone for a 1-1 draw. But Latimer, this is going to be very interesting for you to talk about, because, I mean, it's a full-blown crisis right now, surely. I mean, it's not just the defeats they're suffering, but the manner of their defeats. Their defense is absolutely shambolic. Salah's completely, lost all form.
Yeah.
None of the big money signings they've had are really firing on all cylinders. Maybe you could actually determine better than I can or anyone else can what's wrong with Liverpool right now.
Liverpool are shambolic. Like it's like everything that can go wrong is going wrong for them. It's kind of hilarious. I don't know, man. Like, and also it's like whenever they lose, it's like there's always talk of like Jota passing away is affecting them, which I understand. With grief, people process grief in different ways, but I think it's disrespectful to his memory to bring up his passing every time Liverpool lose. I think it's disrespectful to be using that as an excuse. Also, I think your player should be taking more accountability, because everyone's going to be blaming Slot, but you guys are supposed to have an all-timer Premier League centre back. You're meant to have the best midfielder in the league in Gravenberch. You're supposed to have an all-timer in Salah. Why aren't they performing? Versus supposed to be the best number 10 in the world. Isaac, I was told last year, is the best striker in the league. He's better than Haaland. Why can't these guys perform? What's the problem? Kirk is meant to be the best left back in the league. Frimpong's supposed to be world class. Why aren't these guys stepping up and performing? Why is it just solely Slot's fault?
It's not Slot's fault alone. You're right.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, long may it continue. And West Ham, Nuno, you have one job: keep their losing streak going. I'm gonna go with my heart on this one. My heart says 3-1 West Ham.
Ooh. Well, I'm also going to go for a West Ham win now because, as you've said, just when you think things can't get any worse, they can. And I'm pretty sure that West Ham will do a better job of continuing that losing streak than Aston Villa did. I'll go with Steve's scoreline, 2-1. And now, of course, this leads us to this big one right here. Another London derby, but this time at top of the table, 6-pointer. It won't necessarily decide the direction of the title. But with these two teams, of course, coming up against each other, this will be epic. And I'm so happy that we've got a Chelsea fan with us right now. So, Latimus, I would like you to talk about your team strengths and how you see yourselves shaping up against my team, which are top of the table.
I'm looking forward to this game. I like the fact that both teams are going into this in great form. We're going into this game from both sides with basically everyone fully fit and ready to play. Gabriel, I know, is out for you guys. We don't have Colwell, but aside from that, everyone else is back and fit to play this game, which I like. So regardless on both sides, there's regardless of the result and what happens on the pitch, there's no excuses, which I like. I think this is the first time in a very long time we've played each other where we've both been at our best, which is a good thing. I like that. From our perspective, yes, people can say about Chelsea that we're not, consistent and stuff like that, which, I agree, which is why I don't have us, competing for this league, even though we are 6 points off in second. I don't have us competing for this league and in a title race. But what I do know Chelsea can do and have done and will continue to do is when it comes to these big games, we raise our level and we perform. We perform to the occasion. So for Arsenal fans, if you guys think that you guys will beat us, that's fine. I won't even argue against it and say you're wrong. But any Arsenal fan that thinks they're just going to roll over Chelsea and it's going to be easy game, I think that is quite naive to think that. If you're going to go in underestimating Chelsea, that's what Barcelona did. That's what PSG did. That's what Liverpool did when we played them a couple of months ago. And we saw how those results panned out. So,
absolutely.
And also on the flip side too, Chelsea fans don't think because we just match our game that we'll just roll over Arsenal like we did to PSG and Barcelona. It's not going to be easy from both sides. That's why, for me, I have this game being a draw. Because even though I believe we can beat Arsenal, I also know they can beat us too. And I think both of our strengths and weaknesses will just end up canceling each other out. And it'll end up being a 1-1 draw, which is annoying. I want to beat you guys, but realistically, I'm just gonna be honest. I think it'll just be a 1-1. But that's personally what I think. But I want to hear from you, bro.
So well, obviously, I will of course point out, no disrespect, of course, that you did also lose to Brighton and Sunderland at home this season. But again, as you said, you do have the knack of being able to step it up in the big games. So you do have a decent record against us at Stamford Bridge. I don't think I can remember the last time we beat you. Might have been some time ago. Although, of course, when it comes to the Emirates, I will say that it's a different story. But I'm not underestimating you in any way. Some key battles, of course. It will be interesting to see how Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo will shape up against, I believe, Declan Rice and Martin Zubamendi in that sort of midfield battle. You also like to use the 4-2-3-1 formation, just like we do. And of course, Saka and Cucurella, a repeat of the Euro 2024 final matchup. I think it's fair to say that Cucurella had the better of Saka that day. Saka, he still is really capable of playing well in patches, but I think Cucurella has now, managed to have his number in some respects, and I'll be looking forward to that battle. But if we can, continue to get into Cucurella's head, we can, have an advantage. I think, though, that Cuckoo is less cuckoo these days. And, the most important thing will be to keep Esteval William quiet. If we can do that, then we'll be fine. Huh?
Who do you think will be our left back?
It has to be Ricardo Calafiori. If I never see Miles Lewis-Skelly playing there ever again, it will be too soon. I mean, he got found out when he played for England against Senegal, a match which Steve remembers very well indeed. And since then, Tuchel hasn't picked him. He's not a left back. It's Zinchenko all over again. And that's what really, cheeses me off to no end. So I'll just quickly run through my preferred lineup. Obviously, Raya will be in goal, ex-B's goalkeeper. Yuri and Timber at right back, in my opinion, probably the most informed right back in the Premiership, I'd like to say, although I'm sure you might have something to say about that with either Malo Gusto or Reece James, maybe. Gabriel is out, so it should be Saliba with either one of Hinchapi or Mosquera. I would sooner see Mosquera. I think he's got that physicality, which will be an asset. Calafiori on the left of the defence. Rice and Zubamendi in the midfield double pivot. Eze has to start in the 10 for this game. I don't want to see Odegaard starting. That means that we can play Saka on the right and maybe Martinelli on the left. And then, of course, Trossard being injured means that it will probably still be Mikel Merino playing as the false nine, which I don't like. If there is a situation where Arteta arrogantly decides to start Odegaard and put Eze on the left, then I'd shove Martinelli up front. But hopefully we won't see Odegaard. It'll be Eze in the 10, Martinelli on the left, Merino as the false nine, and that's how it would go. What would your lineup be, Latimus, very quickly?
My lineup. Sanchez for Cucurella will play left back.
Yeah.
That's the thing with Maresca. He might throw a few like curveballs from what we expect. Fofana's playing left center back. I don't know if it's gonna be Chalobah or Badiashile. Badiashile playing would mean will be better on the ball playing up the back. But Chalobah has been playing the past few games. He's built up a bit of a partnership with Fofana and a bit of chemistry. They've been keeping clean sheets. So I don't know that left center back there what will happen. Right back, in big games, we've gone with Gusto at right back and James in midfield with Caicedo. However,
interesting.
Santos has been building up a bit of form. He came on against Barca, played well. He played well against Burnley too. So, and also with Trossard's out injured. So I'm going to assume it's either Martinelli or Madueke on the left. And they're very direct. They've got pace.
Yeah, Madueke might actually come on as a sub. That's what I think will happen.
Oh, so Martinelli will be starting. I think, would Maresca be tempted to start Reece at right back and put Santos in midfield with Caicedo? And Santos, he's someone who can sit, which would allow Caicedo to be more free going forward. I think that would be interesting. We've not seen it done before. So I don't know if he's willing to just throw that curveball in a big game, because that's not something Arsenal would expect. In the 10 would be Enzo. I know Palmer's back fit and everything, and Maresca said Palmer will play on Sunday, but I don't expect Palmer to start. I think Palmer will come on in the second half if we need a little something extra to get the winning goal or maybe get back into the game. Esteval starting on the right. On the left, I think will be Gittins. And as the striker, I'm going João Pedro.
Has to be Pedro. No other person. So that's going to be an interesting lineup. And obviously, Santos and Caicedo in the middle will be interesting. I think you might have a chance if you pressure Zubamendi a bit. That's how Richarlison scored that goal. But Rice will definitely, give you more than a run for your money. So Rice versus Caicedo will definitely, you'll see some sparks flying there. And you're going for a 1-1. There's a part of me that thinks it could be a draw, but I'm also going to go with my heart and say that it will be a 2-1 win for the Arsenal. Steve, you can take us home. What say you? How do you see this game turning out?
Well, being a neutral here, I don't support either of these teams, but I think they're both sort of like on decent form. Well, as we know, Arsenal and great form, on fire at the moment. So I'm dreading facing them at the Emirates, to be honest. After the Burnley game, it's not going to be good for us. It could be a slap up there for us, unfortunately. But no, I think this could be interesting. Two decent teams, of course, and I remember us. We probably should have beaten Chelsea. I'm sure you remember that prime when we actually ended up having to get a last-minute equaliser through Carvalho, who's now injured, unfortunately, ACL, out for the whole season. Was going to be going, actually. He was going to be leaving Carvalho in January. So now can't go anywhere. But no, so we should have been beating you lot. We were in the lead there. Then you went 2-1 up and then But anyway, forget about that. That's gone. But anyway, back to this one. I think, I think it's going to be interesting. I'm going to go with a draw here. I can't see either team winning. I think it's going to be a 1-1.
No, Desmond?
No. Not this, obviously. No.
I wanted to tempt you there, and you didn't take the bait. Well done, Mr. Jenkins.
No, mate. I don't think it's going to be that 4 goals in the game.
Okay. Well, with that, of course, I want to thank you both for coming on. Obviously, it wasn't as many panelists as we hoped would be coming on, but, we had some really good discussions. And one thing I do like about having very few panelists, even if it is a bit of an inconvenience, a pain in the backside, is that we really do talk in depth about a lot of issues. And I will actually sort of correct myself in saying that the David Batty Graham Lasso brawl was during a Champions League game when Blackburn were playing Spartak Moscow. And so both those idiots really, disgraced their club, and Blackburn didn't get too far. Of course, they were champions of the Premier League and they disgraced themselves. And so a lesson for Idrissa Gueye: you're suspended against Newcastle. Don't do that stuff ever again. And of course, now is the time that we will, of course, end this stream. I want to thank everyone who's been in the chat, Chelsea fan, AFC 87 always. And if there are people who are going to be watching this, of course, on replay, and playback, I should say, thank you very much indeed. But I will, of course, ask both of you to shout out your socials. Latimus, I'll start with you. I want to thank you for staying until the end and giving us your insights on a lot of things, including the Chelsea-Arsenal game. So do please tell us where we can find you and if you've got anything interesting coming up on your channel, perhaps.
Make sure you guys like and subscribe, people, to the channel, and to these other two gents as well. Tomorrow, I will be on Alfie's channel. He's my friend. He's an Arsenal fan. Alfie D_YT on YouTube.
Yes, I know, Alfie.
Yeah, we'll be previewing this game. I think that's about it. And on Monday, I'll be on Chic TV for Mud Brothers, and we'll be talking about Chelsea v Arsenal, and as well as all the other games that's been happening this midweek. But yeah, guys, enjoy the weekend, and Arsenal fans, I'll see you on Sunday.
And we will see you and we'll be ready. And of course, he's floated like a butterfly, but stung like a bee. He stayed till the end, and it's wonderful to see. Mr. B, tell us, how do we find? How do we contact you? What have you got coming up? Tell us more.
I've got Mr. B for Life 182 on Insta, so go to there, Mr. B Hive Football Chat, my channel, of course. And I've got stuff, a few things coming up. I was going to do a buzz this week, but didn't quite happen. So I'm doing an actual sort of thing for the Burnley one. I did do a preview on Monday, but I'm doing a proper sort of like catch up with the team, injuries and so forth, and sort of a bit of news about the bees really. I might even be doing that after this one. So, watch out for that, guys. It might be after this, or then again, it might be tomorrow. But I think hopefully after this, and other stuff coming up as well. Of course, there'll be a preview next week for the Arsenal one, and I'm sure I should get an Arsenal fan or two on. I'll see you, Manny. We'll probably be able to come on, I hope, or one or two others. We've got quite a few on here, haven't we? So
yeah,
we'll be able to find a few others as well. Was it Josh and all that as well? And who else we got asked? Well, there's quite a few, isn't there? So, we'll have to see about that. But anyway, guys, it's been great, and thanks to you two fellas. And please keep following these guys; they're brilliant as well. And my channel, guys, getting this 200, still on 186. Don't know why it's not going anywhere, but I need to get that 200 milestone before Christmas. Great Christmas present. And brilliant for my channel. Anyway, cheers, guys. Thanks, everyone.
And of course, as always, come on, you bees.
Yeah,
should win against Burnley, definitely. And of course, such friendliness, and all of those nice things will be put to one side when we clash. But that's another story.
Yeah.
As always, once again, thanks to everyone who's joined in the chat. Thanks to you too. And of course, we will be back on Monday for a review. Hopefully, all things permitting. But until then, as always, thanks again. We'll see you all soon. Take care of yourselves. God bless. Don't do anything that the three of us wouldn't do. Do unto others as you of others do unto you. And until then, enjoy your weekend. See you all soon. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, guys. Thanks, everyone. Bye.